introduce yourself to the jury.
I'm David Walker.
How old are you, David?
I'm 20 years old.
And David, were you friends with Kouren Thomas?
Yes.
How did you know Kouren?
From maybe like 10th grade when I moved here from Indiana.
And were the three of you that used to hang out a lot together?
Yeah.
Who were that three?
Me, Corey, and Chris.
When you say Chris, is that Chris Malone?
Yeah.
And can you tell us, did y'all go to school together?
Me and Corey did.
Where'd y'all go to school?
Heritage High School.
How old was Corey when he got killed?
20.
And would y'all spend a lot of time together?
Every day.
Can you tell us a little bit about the kind of person that Corey was?
He was really just the safe friend out of everybody.
What do you mean by that?
He wouldn't let me drive without a seatbelt. Anybody get in my car without seatbelts. He was like the friend that kept everybody together. Like, I didn't know Chris. He brought me to know Chris. Just somebody that brought everyone together. No problems, things like that.
Okay. What would y'all do for fun?
Play the video games and just sit at the same house at our friends Mike and Dana's house.
Did y'all play any sports?
Yeah, basketball on the weekends and stuff like that. At Millbrook Exchange, like open gyms.
Was Corey working?
Yeah, at McDonald's.
He worked at McDonald's?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how long he had worked there?
I think he might have just started not too long before everything happened. Maybe like 3 months, 3 or 4 months.
Do you remember the day that Corey got killed?
Yes.
And were you two together?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little, was that August the 7th, August the 6th into the 7th
Yes.
of 2016?
Mm-hmm.
What were y'all doing that day?
The day before, like, we went to the party, or like...
Well, during the day, August the 6th, leading up
Oh,
to
okay.
the party.
Well, I wasn't with him at the beginning of the day. I was with my girlfriend. I got with Corey around, I want to say like 10:30 after I dropped my girlfriend off. But the day, August 6th, I wasn't with him the whole day. I only got with him that night.
Okay. When you got with him that night, what did you do?
Just went over his house. He changed his clothes. We were just planning on going to this little party. We sat there, was talking, me, him, and Chris, making sure everybody was looking nice, you know.
Okay. Were y'all drinking?
No.
Were y'all smoking?
We were smoking.
Okay. When we say smoking, what were y'all smoking?
We smoked a blunt weed.
A single
one blunt, yeah.
Weed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So marijuana.
Yeah.
When you said y'all were getting dressed, did y'all have a discussion amongst yourselves about getting dressed to go to this party?
Yeah.
What were y'all talking about?
Just normal, like, guy things, you know, like, he was basically making sure we didn't look crazy, you know, like, you gotta match, you know, look nice. We was telling him to change his shirt because he was trying to wear red and blue, and we were like, how you gonna wear a red hat with a blue shirt? Don't kind of match, you know. So just little things like that.
Okay. Did he change?
Yeah.
What did he put on?
A red shirt.
And you told him to do that?
Yeah, me and Chris both, because he had a red NC State hat, and it didn't match with the blue Levi shirt he had on. It was like, come on now, you gotta match, you know.
Okay. So you didn't think he looked good?
No, not wearing. No.
All right. And you were going with him, so you thought did you think if he didn't look good, it might affect how people were treating y'all?
More like a friend thing. Like, it wouldn't affected us, but it was more like, come on, man, like, you know, make yourself look good. It's gonna be new people here. We don't go out like that, so yeah.
You say you don't go out like that. What do you mean?
Like, we're not the partying type. That was the only party we ever went to throughout, like, me and Corey's whole friendship. We had never been to a party before.
Okay. Why'd y'all decide to go to this one?
It was actually one of Chris's friends, so it was more like the decision was made literally that night. The week before, I was saying no, Corey and Chris really wanted to go, but I'm the one with the car, so it was like, hey, we kind of want you to go with us, so we had a ride, and it was like up until that night, that's when I was like, all right, let's go. But beforehand, it was like, no, because that's not what I do.
Okay. Well, why did you decide to go to the party with them?
Friends, I guess. Maybe like, your best friend got a way of persuading you to do things.
So, y'all talked about it and decided you were going to go to the party?
Yeah.
And was the party close to y'all?
No, not too close. Maybe like 10, 15 minutes out.
And you said you were the one with the car, so were you the one driving?
Yeah.
Was it just the three of you, or did anybody else go with you?
It was just me, Corey, and Chris.
When you got to the neighborhood, what did y'all do?
We parked and we was walking up to we was going to walk to the party house.
Okay. Where'd you park?
Maybe like at the end of the street by a fire hydrant. We were like one of the last people to get there because we got there around like 11:40. It was late.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got there, when you say 11:40, you're talking about at night?
Yeah.
All right. And were there a lot of people there?
Not that I've seen. Like, it was a couple people at their cars, like a group of females that we parked behind. It was 3 females that was in front of us, but other than that, there was like nobody outside.
And did y'all interact with that group that group of girls?
Yeah, they asked us for a lighter, and Corey gave them a lighter, and he got the lighter back. Then we start walking down to the house.
And when y'all parked, did you park in a driveway? Did you park on the side of the street?
On the side of the street.
And were there other cars parked along the side of the street?
Yeah.
Were there any sidewalks on that street?
No.
And so when you walked up to the party, where were you walking?
Like in the street.
Okay. At some point, did you get to the party?
Yeah.
When you got to the party, can you describe that party for us?
It was kind of like, the party was, I want to say, like, I wouldn't call it dead, but it was like, it wasn't like a party you would think it would be. It was just people standing outside asking us to invite people because it was basically boring, I guess. A lot of people were like, there were no females there, a lot of guys there, so.
Okay. So people are out in the yard talking about there needing to be more girls at the party?
Yeah.
Okay. And they talked to you about that?
Yeah.
And did you ever go inside the party?
No.
Did Corey ever go inside the party?
No.
Did Chris go inside the party?
Yeah.
Why was Chris the only one that went in the party?
He had to go get permission from Jalen because it wasn't like a party where everybody could just show up. It was like he sent his invitations out maybe and knew who he wanted to be at the party. And he was going to go ask Jalen, was it okay for me and Corey to come in?
Okay. So Chris goes inside the party. What do you and Corey do?
We stood out in the yard. We talked to this guy who told us it was more meat than tacos at the party. So that's what kind of led us to like, hey, let's just go home. And we pulled out our phones, and he was going to call his girlfriend, and I was going to call mine.
So Corey was going to call his girlfriend, and you were going to call your girlfriend.
Right.
And why were y'all going to call your girlfriends?
Just to see, it was just wasting time waiting on Chris to come out with the answer. But we already had our already had our answer, like, never mind this party type thing.
Okay. Now, do you know if, I know you said Corey gave the girls a lighter to use, or did he have anything else on him?
He did have his grinder on him.
Did he have any weed on him?
If it was weed in the grinder, then yes, but I don't recall that.
Were y'all selling weed?
No.
Was it personal use?
Yeah.
Did Corey you were with Corey while I was getting dressed, right? And you were with Corey while y'all were riding to the party and walking up to the party and got to the party, is that right? And at any point, did you see Corey with a gun that night?
No.
Did you have a gun that night?
No.
Did Chris have a gun that night?
No.
Did you see anybody out there that night with a gun?
No.
While you and Corey are standing, and we call him Corey, is that his real name?
His real name is Kouren.
Okay. But you guys called him Corey.
Corey and Buddha.
Okay, why'd you call him Buddha?
Because he was like the bigger one out of me, him, and Chris, so he kind of wanted like a fat nickname. Yeah.
So you're picking on him about his belly?
Yeah, he was okay with it. He was going to get like a big Buddha tatted on his stomach because he had a big stomach, so.
Okay. So it's just kind of y'all joking with each other.
Yeah.
That was your nickname for him.
Yeah.
So Chris is in the party and you two are standing out in the yard. While y'all are standing out in the yard, did anything, what happened to you?
We just walked out. We was at the party. Nothing happened to me as in like communication with anybody or nothing. It was just me and him standing out there, and we walked towards the curb.
Okay. When you walked to the curb, did you see or hear anything?
No.
At some point, did Corey start to run away?
Yeah.
What led him to do that?
It was cop lights down the street, maybe off a traffic stop.
Okay.
But before we stepped out to the street for me to see, it was a traffic stop. We were like on the curb, so we couldn't really see if the cops were coming to the party or anything. We just seen lights.
Okay. And so when you saw the lights, did you say anything?
We were like, oh crap, it's cops. And he knew he had his grinder on him. So he was like, we need to get back to the car and go home. So, because don't nobody want to go to jail or get in trouble over like a little bit of weed. So.
And that's all y'all were worried about?
Yeah, only thing.
Okay. Did he stick around or did he take off?
He got to the car. That's how he is. He don't like trouble. Our whole group don't like trouble. So we just go back to the safe spot, which is either Mike and Dana's house or we go back to Corey's house, and that's what we're gonna do. But we're waiting on Chris because he was still at the party.
Okay, because he's still inside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When Corey starts to run, where does he run?
Towards my car, but the opposite side of the street.
Okay. Is he in the street?
No.
Where is he?
He's more like on the curb, like running from the house, but at a slant towards the curb.
Okay. So y'all are across the street, and he's kind of running diagonally.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's running, does he run past what you later find out to be the defendant's house?
He didn't run past it. He really never got to the house where he was laying. So.
Okay. Well, would that house have been on his right-hand side?
Yeah.
And when he's running, what do?
I was just calling his name, telling him like, hey, you don't got to run. It's just a traffic stop. Because I didn't want to run because we was like I said, we dressed up. And it was like, people at the party. I didn't want to look crazy, like just running out in the open for no reason. Nobody really seen the cops. So it was like, he was like the only one running. So I was like, hey, slow down. I'm like, stop running.
Were there other people out there?
Not that I recall. At the party house, yes. In the yard of the party, it was like maybe 10 people. But other than that, there was like nobody else out there.
Did you see anybody raising Cain or being loud or in anybody else's yard?
No.
Fussing, fighting?
No.
Was there a big group of people in the middle of a big brawl in the middle of the street that you saw?
No. We wouldn't even have went to the party if we seen a brawl.
Okay.
Right.
While you were leaving, did you see any of that going on?
No.
Did Corey make it to the car?
No.
Can you tell us what you saw?
When he started running and I was calling his name like, hey, just running, he was trying to look back to see what I was saying because he was already across the street. So he was just like really probably seeing where I was out behind him. And then by the time he even looked towards me, he was already shot.
Okay. And did you see him get shot?
Yeah.
And when he got shot, did you hear him get shot?
Yeah.
Can you describe that for us?
Yeah, he spun around after getting shot and told everybody to call 911. He just started screaming, help, call 911, call 911.
Did he stand up or did he fall down?
He spun around and fell from the impact.
And when he fell, where was he?
Like on the curb, like half street, half grass curb area.
Okay. So he was in the grass part, but not up by the house?
No, nowhere near the house.
And was he by the mailbox or?
Yeah, like right by the curb. Like, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you what I'm marking for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 3 first, if you don't mind taking a look at that. When you look at that, can you tell us what that is?
I see it's a crime scene, but
okay.
I can't tell you what it is.
Does it look, is that the area in which y'all were?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the neighborhood, this is Single Leaf Lane?
Yeah.
Is this a fair and accurate representation of the way Single Leaf looked? Obviously, it's a different time of day.
Right.
Other than the brightness of the sun, that's kind of how it looked that way?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. And in looking at that, would this help you in your testimony?
Yeah.
You might need to warm up. So. While we're warming that up, I'll ask you a couple more questions. So this picture that's in State's Exhibit number 3, in looking at that picture, is this the yard in which Corey got shot?
I'm not gonna say it is, but that's the yard. If that's where he was found, of course.
Okay. It looks like that.
Yeah, like when it happened, I wasn't focused on the house or yard. I was focused on him.
Okay,
So.
and that's fair. But if this is Chad Copley's house, if that's Chad Copley's mailbox, okay, in looking at that picture, which direction would Corey have been running? Would he be running towards the mailbox or away from the mailbox?
Towards it, like, because I parked down the street.
You were parked past this.
Yeah, on the opposite side down there.
All right. Can you see that picture up there?
Yeah.
Is that State's Exhibit 3?
Yeah.
All right. So I've got a laser pointer. So can you see that green dot?
Yeah.
All right. Now this car right here that's parked beside the mailbox. Is that? May I approach the screen because the laser pointer's not working?
Absolutely.
This car right here. You were parked behind that car?
Behind, on the opposite, further down.
On this side, the left-hand side?
Yeah,
of the picture,
further.
down.
Yeah,
Okay.
further down.
And this is 35, 36 single leaf lane, as you can see on the mailbox, right? Okay. And there's a red thing right here. Does that look to be like maybe it's Corey's hat?
Yeah.
You talked about he's wearing an NC State
NC
hat,
State
right?
hat. Yeah, he wore it every day.
All right. And so when Corey's running, he's running towards this picture, right? So towards the mailbox.
Yeah.
And so his right-hand side would have been
Facing the house, yeah.
All right. And so then you say he spun around, you heard the shot, he spins around, he goes down, and he's screaming, "I got shot, call 911."
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 1. If you'll take a look at that. Does that appear to be a closer-up view of State's Exhibit 3?
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's got the same mailbox. There's some placards and other things in it. Is that right?
Yeah.
And does that appear to be a fair and accurate representation?
Yeah.
Does this help you in your testimony?
Yeah, that's even his drink he had, his Fago.
Okay, so this is a fair and accurate representation. This will help you.
Yeah.
So looking at that, what we talked about is that that's a closer-up view, right? And you said you could see something, and there's a little yellow placard there that has the number 8 on it, right?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
That's his Fago. We all stopped at the gas station and got drinks. We all had Fagos.
Okay, so that's a bright orange soda.
Yeah.
All right. Now there's also a placard up there, as you can see it closer to the road, which has a number 9 on it. Okay, and there looks, is that a red NC State hat?
Yeah.
Is that the hat that Corey was wearing that night?
Yes.
Now, there also appears to be a letter A, and there appears to be some discoloration in the grass there.
Right.
Is that where Corey was when he went down?
Yeah.
Okay. There's some other things there. Do you recognize any of those other things?
No, just the hat, the drink, and the spot.
Okay. And that mailbox says 35, 36 on it? All right. Now, I'm going to show you what's been marked in State's Exhibit 2. Can you look at that?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that's Corey.
Okay. Is this similar to what he was wearing that night?
Just a different shirt.
Now, in that picture, you say that's a picture of Corey or a picture of Buddha, right?
Yeah.
And he's wearing a red hat. Is that the same hat that he was wearing that night?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how he would dress normally?
Yeah, we all kind of dressed the same.
Okay. So, a little tighter blue jeans,
Yeah.
and a blue shirt and a red hat.
Yep.
Kind of like what you were picking on him for wearing.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Now, when Corey went down in the yard, you say he had a Fago. Was he was holding that?
Yeah.
Did he, that red stain in the yard where you said that Corey was laying, what direction was his head facing, if you remember?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember if Corey went up to the house?
He didn't. He was by me the whole time. We was always hip to hip.
Do you remember, except for when he was running away?
Yeah.
Okay. When he was running away, did he go up to the house?
No, he was running toward the house. He never made it to the house type.
Okay. When he was running towards the house, was he running towards the house or towards the car?
Towards the cars, like the curb, to stay out of the street, because if the cops was coming down the street, you wouldn't be running in the middle of the street where he could see you, so he was going to hit the curb.
Okay. Didn't want to draw attention to himself.
Right.
All right. Was he screaming anything while he was running down the road?
No.
Was he waving his arms?
No.
Was he being aggressive in any way?
No.
Did he have any conversation with Chad Copley that night that you saw?
No.
Did you have any conversation with
No.
Chad Copley that night?
No.
Did Chris?
No.
Did you see anybody have any interactions with Chad Copley?
No.
When Corey went down in the yard and got shot, or in that by the curb just past the mailbox, loud bang, he spins, starts screaming, call 911. He goes down. What did you do?
I froze. I was confused. I was looking at the people at the party house, like what happened, because everybody else was confused. We were all looking around until someone screamed out, somebody shot from the house. And that's when I went the opposite way and ran towards the cop down the street.
Why'd you do that?
To go get help.
Why didn't you run to Corey and try and help Corey?
Because I'm not a doctor and I don't know what to do in that situation, so.
And you knew there was a police officer just up the road.
Right.
So you ran up that way?
Right, yeah.
When you did that, what'd you do?
I told the cops someone was shot, he needed help, and he dropped what he was doing and sprinted down there.
Okay. When you got the cop there, after you got the cop's attention and told him that your friend had been shot, what'd you do?
I just kept walking down the street.
Why?
Just confused and just off. Like I was off, and I just wanted to get away from the scene because it was like heartbreaking. Really, like it didn't make any sense at all for that to happen to him.
Did you have anything illegal on you?
No.
Did you have any marijuana on you?
Not on me and my person. It was in my car.
Okay. And did you want to stick around because you had marijuana on you?
No. I really walked the opposite way of my car, and sat on the curb and called my mom and called Corey's girlfriend, and just sitting on the curb, I started talking to neighbors from down the street that came out because they heard all the cop cars and sirens and stuff. So,
did you call Chris?
Yeah, I called Chris and told him what happened after I went down to the cop and told him what happened.
What did you tell Chris had happened?
Corey got shot, and that was it, really.
Did y'all do anything? Did y'all have discussion about it?
No, we just hung up. Chris' phone at the time, he had he had an Android, and the battery was always dying on him. He always had to charge his phone, even while being on it, or it'll die on him. So I think I only had enough time to say Corey got shot, and he probably just hung up on me just to go see what was going on.
Did you think the police, or what did you think the police would think if you showed up there to talk to them about what had happened and you had weed in your car?
I didn't really think that hard because I wasn't at my car, so I wasn't worried about the weed that I had.
Okay. Did you want the police to take you seriously?
Yeah. I mean, he did because he sprinted. He didn't say anything else to me. He just was going to see what happened.
Did you stick around that scene that night?
Yeah, I was down the street waiting on my mom to pick me up. I walked back just to see if I could have got to my car before my mom came, because she told me, go see if you can get to your car first. And as I was walking down, that's when the cops had everything blocked off, and everybody was like, you can't go past the scene or cross through it. So I had to wait again for my mom.
Okay. So did your mom come pick you up?
Yeah.
And when she picked you up, what'd you do?
She drove me around the longer way to my car so I could go to the hospital, because Corey was already getting transported by the time she picked me up.
Did you go to the hospital?
Yeah.
When you got to the hospital, what'd you do?
Just sat in the waiting room with the family just to hear what was the outcome.
Did you ever find out what the outcome was?
Yeah.
What was that?
And he was killed.
Did you have a pretty clear view of Corey when he got shot?
Yeah.
Where were you when he got shot?
In the street.
I think you said you were telling him to stop running.
Yeah, I was yelling, telling him to slow down, stop running, and just walk to the car. Because the cop wasn't worried about us. He pulled over a car, so he wasn't coming to the party.
When he, did he hear you? Do you know if he was able to hear you?
I'm pretty sure he heard me because he was turning around to see what I was like. He heard me calling his name.
I'm sorry. So much happened. What was the question?
I asked, do you know if he was able to hear you?
If who was able to hear him?
Corey.
Does he know? Overruled.
Do you know if he was able to hear you?
I'm pretty sure he did hear me because he was on his way to turning around to see what I was yelling at him. Because I was yelling his name loud, like everybody knows their name, so.
As he's turning is when he gets shot?
Yeah.
Is he still running when he gets shot?
More like a slow down, because you can't really turn your full body while you're running. So he was slowing down to look back at me, but before he could even look back at me, he was shot.
Can you explain why your best friend got shot and you don't stick around at the scene?
Because I wanted to get out of that area. Once I heard someone was shooting from the house, and to me it was for no reason because nothing was going on. Who would want to stick around there if someone's shooting from a house enclosed? So, right.
And were you going to get help?
Yeah, I ran to the cop first and then just kept walking down the street.
I don't have any other questions, Judge.
Thank you, sir. Cross-exam?
Hey, John. Good morning, Mr. Walker.
Good morning.
When did you first sort of learn about this party?
Maybe a week, and then a week before.
You recall how you heard about it?
From Chris, because that was his friend.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was at Jalen Lewis's house. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know Mr. Lewis?
No.
Okay. And I believe you just testified that Chris Malone was better friends with Jalen. Is that fair?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And when the time comes, who decides to sort of go to the party together?
What do you mean by that?
You testified in direct examination. It was you and I believe Corey and
Chris.
Malone, is that
Mm-hmm.
correct? Okay. And what day of the week was this? Do you recall?
No, I don't know the day.
Do you remember if it was a weekend?
Yeah, it was a weekend.
Okay. When do you, Corey, and Chris start hanging out the day of the party?
Around 10:30 when I pulled up to his house, to Corey's house.
Okay. And by 10:30, do you mean 10:30 at night?
Yeah.
Okay. You had mentioned on direct examination that at least at some point during that day you had smoked marijuana. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What time did you begin smoking marijuana?
Really soon as I got to the house. Yeah.
And that's Corey's house?
Yeah.
And I believe on direct examination you testified it was one marijuana blunt.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that something that you, Corey, and Chris all sort of shared?
Yeah, we all shared it.
How long were y'all at Corey's house for?
And I don't have the exact timing, but enough timing for him to change his clothes, change his shirt. We smoked, so maybe I want to say good 30 minutes, maybe.
And I think on direct examination y'all left maybe sometime around 11 at night.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yeah.
Who drove?
Me.
And from that point on until the police were called out to the scene and everything, Did you smoke any more marijuana?
No.
What about Chris Malone? Did you see him smoke any more marijuana?
No.
And I probably phrased that wrong. Did Chris Malone smoke any more marijuana?
That night after me and him smoked, no.
The street, the same side of the road, opposite side?
Same side.
As you were pulling into that neighborhood, going to Jalen's house, would their houses be on your left or would they be on your right?
When we were walking down the street, it was on the left.
And so you parked short of Jalen's house, is that fair to say?
Not short, like it was further. We were the last people to arrive there, so like cars were already on the street, so.
Would the position you parked, Mr. Copley's house be further away or would Jalen's house be?
Jalen's house was further.
You testified on direct examination that when you got there, it sort of seemed dead, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And at least a couple of folks kind of mentioned to you, hey, this party's no good.
Right.
And it was at this point that you decided to try to make some other plans to try to find something better. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. You called your girlfriend?
Mm-hmm.
Chris called his girlfriend?
No, Corey was calling his girlfriend. Chris was in the house.
Okay, Corey called his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And at some point, Chris goes in to sort of check on it to sort of make sure that, hey, we're not missing out on anything. Is that fair to say?
He went there to check to see if me and Corey was able to go in the house.
Okay. Because maybe y'all weren't as good of friends as...
Yeah, he didn't know me and Corey. He only knew Chris.
Okay. How long is Chris in the party while y'all are sort of waiting outside?
Maybe like 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. And in relation to Jalen's house, where are you making this phone call?
Right in the front of his house, his front curb of his house.
And at some point, Chris comes out. Is that right?
I wasn't. When Chris came out, the shot already happened. Everything already happened.
And so is your testimony on direct examination that you never went inside the party?
Never.
Never went inside the house?
No.
After this incident occurred, you met with Raleigh Police Department police officers, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you recall approximately what day you met with the police detective?
It wasn't long, maybe like a day or two after. Maybe a day, because I think, yeah, maybe a day.
Okay. And do you recall the name of the detective or police officer?
No.
Okay. Do you recall, how long did you talk to him for?
Like 15 minutes maybe. Answered all his questions, and he was like, "You good to go?"
Okay. And do you recall telling that police detective that once y'all left Corey's house and started driving to the party that you smoked more marijuana?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. Did you tell that police detective that?
I don't recall telling him that.
You mentioned on direct that a big reason you wanted to leave was not fun.
Right.
Do you recall telling that police detective that it was because it was quiet, it was because there weren't a lot of people that y'all decided to go into that house?
Ask that again?
Yes, sir. You testified on direct examination and on some of my questions that when you got to the party, it was not a good thing in your mind that it was quiet, it was dead, so that's why y'all decided to make other plans. Is that correct?
Yeah, because it wasn't any fun. Nobody wants to go to a party that's not fun.
Right. Do you recall telling the same police detective that I just asked you about that it was because the party was dead, it was because the party was quiet that y'all decided to go into that party?
We never went into the party.
I
Like,
recall telling the detective when you met with him shortly after this incident occurred that you in fact went into that house.
I don't recall that, because because I never went to the party.
When you met with that Raleigh police detective, did you try to be as truthful as you could?
Yes.
You and you and Corey are on the telephone talking to your respective girlfriends.
Right.
At some point, Corey starts to run away. Okay. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. When he runs, which way are you facing initially?
When he runs, I'm in front of the party house, turned the opposite way towards Corey, and he was running towards the left, to my left.
And when he started to run is when you looked to start to yell at him. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. He's running, I would assume, facing straight down the street. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. And you test him, is he running down the middle of the street? How's he running?
He's running at an angle towards the curb because there were cars parked, so he wasn't going to run in the street and he wasn't going to run through cars, so he was like going on the curb.
Okay. The house, the yard that Mr. Latour put up there on the screen, turns out to be Mr. Copley's residence. Was there any cars parked outside that house that you can recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. And it was your testimony that at some point after you're screaming at Corey, yelling at Corey, whatever, he turns back towards you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's when you hear
The shot.
a shot. You see Corey go down.
Yeah.
Okay. Which way, how would you characterize the position of Corey's body when you hear that shot?
He was trying to look over his left shoulder towards me, and he got shot from the right side. So when he fell, it was just like he fell. I never ran up to the body to see how he was like, like laid out. I ran straight to the cop.
Okay. So it sounds like he's not facing the house. Is that correct?
Correct.
He's not facing the street. Somewhere kind of in the middle of those
Yeah.
positions. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
When his body falls, do you see sort of the way his body falls? Does he fall on his stomach? Does he fall on his back?
I don't recall.
And when this happened, you testified you were confused.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And that's when you started to go in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Is that right? Did you see any folks come up to the body and right after Corey went to the ground?
No.
Nobody. Is there anybody else in the street at the point in which you heard this gunshot?
I do not recall. No one was in the street where I was but me.
Okay. What about where Corey was when he was shot?
I don't recall anyone being over there.
When you are going in the opposite direction, I would assume your back is towards Corey in that house at that point.
Yeah.
And so you would not be able to see presumably anything behind you.
Right.
You testified that you wanted to get out of there.
Right.
Okay. But in fact, you stuck around and sat on the curb. Is that right?
Down the street, like the opposite side, going where I was walking, that curb down there was like a good 10 to 15 houses down the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it at this point that I think you testified you called your mom?
Yeah.
Okay, and I think you also called some other folks?
Yeah, Corey's girlfriend.
Okay. When you're there, did you see a large group of police cars arrive?
Yeah, when I was like walking down the street, they were like just flying past me, going towards the scene.
Okay. And how long would you say it took after the shot, you heard that shot, until sort of this large group of police cars arrived?
It wasn't quick, but I would say maybe like a good 5 minutes afterwards. Like I ran to that cop and maybe he called back up, but that's the only cop I ran to, and then I just walked down the street. And I can't recall the direct time and how long it took because I was so, right.
Is there any way to estimate it? Was it 5 minutes?
I would say between 5 to 10.
Do these cars, do they come past you, or do they come from another angle? Where do they come?
They came past me as I was walking down the street.
Okay. From your vantage point where you are
Mm-hmm.
in relation to Mr. Copley's house, are you able to sort of see that at this point?
No.
Okay. Are you able to see any of the police cars parked and what's going on up there at all?
No, just the lights, like up in the sky and stuff like that.
Then eventually you left the entire neighborhood, is that right?
Yeah.
At what point did you leave the entire neighborhood?
I don't know. My mom took a minute. We lived maybe like 15 minutes away from there, so whenever she came, I didn't leave the full neighborhood. We just went like the back road back to my car so she could drop me off in my car so I could go to the hospital.
Okay. And then at some point, maybe a day or so later, you met with the Raleigh police officer?
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
No other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you. Redirect?
Very briefly. David, you admit you smoked some weed that night, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did the weed affect your ability to see your friend get shot?
No, I mean, that's daily for me and Corey, so.
Y'all smoke weed fairly regularly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you remember what you saw?
Yeah.
And you are telling this jury what you remember, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you're standing in the street,
Mhm.
this is what is getting asked a lot, so I'm just going to try and clarify the positioning of everybody, right?
Okay.
You're standing in the street because you see the cop.
Yeah.
Are you facing, what way are you facing at that point?
Straight. If the house is behind me, I'm still looking straight. I'm in the street, but I'm looking left because Corey was on my right side.
Okay.
And then when I looked left and seen the cops, so when I turned back to look at Corey, that's when he started taking off.
And did he run in front of you or just run off?
Just ran off.
Okay, so he
Yeah.
kept running to your right.
Yeah.
And so if the jury box here is Chad Copley's side of Single Leaf Lane,
Hmm.
he's running towards you.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are y'all in the street to begin with?
We were on the curb, and then I walked towards the street because when I seen the cop lights, I wanted to see, like, are they coming or what it was, because we seen the cop lights, but it's like we didn't hear any sirens, so I was like, if they were coming to the party, like, I wanted to see what was taking them so long, so I was like, walked out to the street to see what was really going on, just to see.
Did Corey walk out there with you at all?
Yeah, he was right there on my side.
And so is that why you say he was running at an angle?
Yeah,
Right in the
because
street?
by then we walked into the street because I wanted to see where the cop was.
So you're standing in the street, you're looking at the cop car, and he runs kind of at an angle back towards the sidewalk,
Yeah.
towards the curb line,
Yeah.
because there isn't a sidewalk,
Right.
and gets a couple steps into the grass there.
Yeah.
And are you able to see him?
Yeah.
There may be some cars around, but did it obstruct your view?
No, it was a straight, plain sight, like I'm looking at you.
Okay. Now, but you were looking at his back.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when you're yelling, do you yelling Corey or Buddha?
Corey, both.
Okay, Corey, Buddha, Corey,
Mhm.
they're not coming. It's cool. Stop.
Yeah.
Don't run. He's in the yard at this point, in the curb line. At
Yeah. Hmm.
And he starts to turn to look at you, and that's when
The shot went off.
Okay. So he doesn't get his body turned all the way around. It's his head starts to turn.
Yeah, it's like he started slowing down and was gonna turn, and that's when he dropped.
You hear a boom, and then you made a circular motion. He
Like,
spins around,
yeah, he spun. Hmm.
and then he goes down on the grassy area.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the grassy area that we talked about.
Yeah.
Where that red stain was in his hat.
Yeah.
All right. And that's when you leave.
Yeah.
But you did go up there and get the police. Right?
Hmm.
Now, there were some questions asked about how long it took for all these police officers to get there, and you said about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, that's not that first police officer that you
That's
talked to, is it?
no. That was the first police officer was like When I went down there and told him that it was me and maybe like 2 other people from the party, I was running behind me and we're like, hey, somebody got shot. And he was dealing with the car. He pulled over and he just immediately took off and started running down there.
Before all that, you said it was quiet. After the shot, was it as quiet?
No.
Okay. After Corey gets shot, people start showing up outside?
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's when the cops start showing up.
Yeah. And that's when neighbors, started to come out and they were like asking me what's going on.
But those are neighbors 10 to 15 houses.
Yeah, like down the street. Yeah. So even they heard what was going on, all the lights and sirens and stuff. So
Never had a gun.
no.
Never saw any guns.
No.
Never saw anybody interact with Chad Copley.
No.
And you're saying you can see this mailbox right where Corey gets shot,
Right.
and you didn't see anybody raising trouble, causing trouble,
No.
or fighting in the
No.
street
Mm-mm.
at that point. Okay. No other questions.
Thank you, sir. Recross.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. You can come on
Thank
in,
you.
sir.